Hello, and welcome to Thursday Devotions. Psalm 127 begins, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain." Although we know that our church building is not the object of our worship, and we know that it is the people who are the church, not the building in which we gather, it is nonetheless true that the beauty of our building has, over many generations, evoked a sense of the presence of God just in its own right, and also in so much that happens there, and in the music, in the people gathered together, in prayers, and so much more. What has been so strange over the last 13 months is that for some of you, you have not been back in the church since, and others of you only briefly. I think of this every time I see the church as I come down the street or turn the corner in Caribou, such that I see it for the first time after traveling somewhere or whatever it might be, and thought it would be an opportunity today to see some of the work that our trustees and others have done, both to accomplish many of the goals in our capital campaign, to realize some long-held dreams that certain of our members have had and have given of themselves to make possible, and also just a chance to have a tour and see a little bit about how this has all come together over these recent months. Much of the video that you will see today was actually taken in December, so just keep in mind that some of the facts and dates have evolved or changed since then, and also work has continued. Also keep in mind our sense of stewardship, that this facility, along with the parsonage, are fantastic gifts that we have received from past generations, and that though while our primary ministry is always about the people and our relationships, our stewardship of it today will help make this a center for ministry, we hope, for many generations to come. So come along now as we enjoy a tour of some of the work that has been ongoing, and also hopefully for many of you an opportunity to see the inside of your church again. Let's go take a look. There is very little in our sanctuary that has not been touched in some way by both the repair work and the capital campaign work that has been done here, as well as some projects that have been donated. Except for the carpet down the center aisle, pretty much every other surface in this room has been worked on in some fashion. As you look towards the ceiling, that entire ceiling of the sanctuary, as well as the walls, have been repainted. All of the damage up here in the upper corner that's overlooking the handbell loft, the tin has been flattened back out and repaired, and all the stains have been removed, and the paint has been redone. A lot of that was covered by insurance monies. Also, all of the light fixtures have been replaced with LED lights, and the light fixture areas around them have been insulated. A couple years ago, we had a thermal imaging camera upstairs in the attic, and a lot of heat loss was coming up through those fixtures. It looked like a plume of, if you were watching a volcanic eruption, it looked like that kind of energy just coming up out of that space. So that's been pretty amazing, actually, to have that. Both of those projects together will save a lot in terms of energy. These lights are also dimmable, so we can use them for a variety of effects for special services like Christmas Eve. And the wall sconces on the right and the left, and eventually the one over the altar, and the chandeliers up in the balcony, all will have the ability to be different colors. All of the visible wood in the sanctuary, the pulpit, the wood around the windows, the wood facing on the balcony, and the pews themselves have all been oiled, and in many cases repaired. That's especially true of the pews, both those that were damaged in the flood last December, as well as those that just with age have had a lot of longitudinal cracks. Those have been repaired and oiled a number of times. The floor, one of the things the trustees realized was that with this time, extended time when no one was in the building, it might be a chance to make some repairs to the floor and also to sand it down. So many of you have seen the pictures where all the pews were removed. The floor was sanded down and then refinished and buffed. It's a little harder to see now, but if you have old newsletters, you might be able to see that. That was paid for by a special donation. Actually, quite a few projects here were paid by special donations. It's going to enable our capital campaign funds to go a whole lot farther. The work on the lights was also paid for by an additional gift above and beyond the capital campaign. And most of the painting cost was covered through insurance monies from our flood. There are a number of places that you really can't see the work, but it's been very important. You might remember during the capital campaign we had a do not burn list. So among other things, a number of the outlets in the sanctuary were not properly grounded. Those have been taken care of. Our breaker boxes had run out of space, and also we were using them as switches. Now they'll actually be able to function just as breakers with extra capacity as different circuits might be added over the years. On the walls now we have switches that control the sanctuary lights. There still are a few more to add, and this is how we'll be turning off and on lights going forward rather than using the breaker box. Inside the walls, all over the sanctuary and in the attic, a lot of old wiring was removed. Much of the wiring, the newer wiring over the years, was added to old wiring, kind of jury-rigged together, but in many cases unsafe. And that has all been replaced. New wiring that meets code has been put in and installed in ways that meet code, which of course in itself has changed over the years. The big heaters that used to be over the corners have been removed, both on the right side and on the left side. There's still a cord that remains there, and in time that will be removed as well. The attic area has been cleaned up, and all the sprinkler heads way back actually last year were replaced. We passed our inspection, and as long as we keep up our annual inspection, should be good for, depending on the sprinkler head and the location of the building, anywhere from 20 to 35 years. There's a chance to see when it's hard from this angle to see them, but they are all over the sprinkler. Over 200 sprinklers cover this building from stem to stern. We'll take a moment and step through the sanctuary double doors into the narthex, and we turn to the right where the custodian's closet used to be is now a bathroom that anyone can use. It was underway when we had to close down because of the pandemic back in March, and has since been completed, complete with a toilet, a nifty little sink that we had to hunt around for something that would fit our space here, a mirror, and even some shelving for supplies and other items. We've had a lot of feedback from people who really were looking for something a little closer at hand during worship and other events, and think this will be a big benefit for our congregation. This too was paid by special donation, so our campaign dollars as well as our operating dollars have stretched a lot farther by the generosity of the congregation. Over to our right, coming up the central stairs in the narthex up to the sanctuary entrance, and then ringing the balcony and down by the organ are 3 different sections of railing. These were painted in a variety of different ways, but are being repainted now. They're in various stages of being painted. It's taking multiple coats. The final one, this is the next to last stage, will leave it with a gold flecked kind of look. Little bits of shiny, almost like shiny metal, and should look really nice when it is all done. It's based on a pattern from the Sistine Chapel at the Vatican, and we thought, hey, if that can work for them, it just might work for us. For several years running, either this pole or the other pole underneath the awning out the front doors has been hit by a snowplow, almost to be an annual occurrence. Last year's not only knocked the post out but caused some damage to the beam above, which had probably already been damaged previously. And that's been stabilized. And in the next few weeks, this will be repaired along with the wiring for the light redone. And we should have along with the new piers that are now anchored into the ground, and the little posts there to keep the future occurrence of a snowplow or other truck from running into it, should secure this awning for at least a generation to come. This is in the main office. The ceiling here is being reworked, so it will both be insulated and also have the flammable materials removed from it. This should make it much easier to heat the office, as well as to help us meet code. There's also some wiring issues in this room. Way more is on the circuit than should be, which is not an unusual thing for the building, just as things have accumulated over the years. And that will be also updated. All this that I showed you today is part of ongoing work that is expected to continue over the course of our capital campaign. We are now officially 1 year into those 3 years. Work that remains includes, and I should say again, some of this that I'm about to mention is likely going to be funded through some additional gifts that are not part of the capital campaign directly, but have been an outgrowth of it. We expect to continue to develop our online capability so that we can stream services and other events well on into the future and be able to do that with quality. We hope to relocate the equipment up into the balcony as well. There's a couple of the sides of the exterior of the church need to be resided as the wood out there is no longer able to hold paint. There's also blocks along the foundation that will be repaired so that leaking water will stop coming in, as well as some walls in the basement that have been crumbling. And the heating system is also something that will have some attention during the campaign. Many of these are also similar issues at the parsonage, including electrical and siding, especially over there as well, and some items around the grounds as well. We couldn't thank enough those who have contributed and continue to contribute to the capital campaign. The several members who have contributed significant monies towards special projects, whether lighting or the bathroom or refinishing the floors, among other things, which have meant those items have not had to be funded by capital campaign dollars and is allowing so much more. And for Judson Drake, who using his years of experience in construction and other kinds of maintenance has been able to get us often higher quality work done for less money when he's been able to be flexible with, for example, scheduling, or has used his own time often frequently to save what would otherwise be charged labor. All this has meant that the dollars that we do have been going much farther than I had anticipated, and will allow us to, I think, not only achieve our goals for the campaign, because of the kind of work that's being done, really take the pressure off major building issues for quite some time into the future. So this concludes our tour of the church. I hope you have enjoyed a chance to see a little bit inside of what's happening, or maybe just to see the inside at all. And although it's probably most likely several months off, hopefully at some point later this year, it will be great to be able to show this to all of you together when we come for worship, whenever that may be. Have a wonderful day, and know that we are not defined by our building, but this building, as beautiful as it is, has inspired people in their faith. But you are the true church, the people. So however we gather, whether it's in this building or out in the garden or online, we are the church. And the places we gather are merely tools, like our church buildings, for the doing of ministry. So let's respond to God's gifts of grace wherever we are. And when we have gifts like this place, let us use it well, even boldly, for ministry in this world. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful day.